Today on the channel, we begin a week-long series to catch up on some of our back stock of reviews. We're going to kick it off with Snake Eyes and Polar Bear, part of the M.A.S.S subline on Way I Got It Figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? Way I Got It Figured, back with another G.I.Joe classified series review. This time, we've got another one with the Silent Warrior, Snake Eyes, number 161, Snake Eyes and Polar Bear. So this figure is one of the exclusive figures that's going around. We covered Breaker a couple of months ago now, actually. And Snake Eyes is the next one we've gotten in the series with the 3 catalytic elements to make up the M.A.S.S device. And this Snake Eyes is, of course, based on the 1983 G.I.Joe, A Real American Hero 5-part series. The M.A.S.S device, I guess it wasn't really called the M.A.S.S device, it was just G.I.Joe. And the M.A.S.S device was the subject. And in there, in that story, in those episodes, Snake Eyes found himself in combat with a polar bear. And so this is one of those figures that's a huge nod to the animated series of G.I. Joe. Nothing wrong with that. It is, after all, Snake Eyes. And I do, I want figures that represent all of his appearances in media. I believe this is the 8th version of Snake Eyes we've gotten in 180 some odd figures so far in the G.I. Joe Classified series line. Of course, we have one more coming along as well, but it's not really going to help people with Snake Eyes fatigue. Not that I'm interested in helping those people, because I'll never have Snake Eyes fatigue. Either way, we've got him. Here he is. We're going to get him out. We're going to check him out. We're going to look at his package and give you some final thoughts. And starting with the packaging, you've got Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear, all their cool stuff. They come with the M.A.S.S logo on the side, showing it's part of that subline. On the side, you got some cool artwork of the polar bear, Snake Eyes fighting the polar bear, or not really fighting the polar bear. It wasn't much of a fight, but Snake Eyes wasn't doing his best at that time. He was irradiated, as you can see, with the glowing hands and everything. On the side, you've got Snake Eyes, again, with all of his combat symbols and the QR code to nowhere. Really not sure why they're putting this QR code on there still. It never worked. It hasn't worked in a really long time, if ever. I might be over giving them too much credit. On the back, you got your action figure photography of Snake Eyes product shots with the polar bear. Looking really cool. And you got some inserts of the polar bear to swap out some of his pieces for battle damage, etc. And that's very cool. You got the bear trap. Even though the bear trap wasn't for the bear, it was actually for Timber, which is on the show literally how he met Timber. Timber was trapped in a trap, and Snake Eyes freed him, and that led to a long and enduring friendship. As for Snake Eyes' combat abilities, you kind of know them by heart by now. 4 covert ops, 4 bladed weapons, 4 stealth, 4 ninjitsu. And of course, we could make a case for other things that he knows that are probably 4s too. that's going to do it for the product, shots, and the package. We're going to get Snake Eyes and the polar bear out and check them out. All right, so we're back with Snake Eyes and the polar bear out of the package with all their accessories. And they come with quite a few things. Snake Eyes has an eye-popping 3 extra sets of hands. And we continue to get our XLMR3 rifles distributed across multiple figures. And that's cool. But we're going to go over everything, in turn. I think this time we will start with Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is, of course, a direct repaint of the retro card Snake Eyes based on his original outfit from 1982 in the colors of the G.I. Joe animated series. So this is the second use of that version of Snake Eyes, even though it's like the 4th or 5th use of the body. But for Snake Eyes, it's the second use. And then the third use of the head, because the head is also on the Desert Commando Snake Eyes. But, getting a little up close with him, he looks cool, of course. You got some extra details that you don't get to see on the other ones because it's all black. So, of course, he's got some black painted in here. It's a lot of painted highlights. But he's looking pretty dope. And, unlike some people, I didn't buy this set for the polar bear. I bought it for Snake Eyes, who is the man. So he's got his fluorescent pink hands, which are not gloved hands. They're like supposed to be glowing from the irradiation from the crystal elements. And he, of course, then has glowing fists and glowing choppy hands, or saluting hand, if you want to call it that. Kind of like that idea as well. But then he also has flesh-colored regular trigger hands, because in the cartoon, when he was wearing his outfit, he did not wear gloves. So that's why he has flesh-colored hands. Got a couple of quick kick figures out there. And these pegs look like they match the quick kick pegs, so you could probably just, have him and quick kick share hands, which we'll get to see more on that later. But there you go, there with the hands. This time he gets a different set of weapons than what we're normally accustomed to with this body. In fact, they use different weapons, and we get to see another example of gang molding. So here we go. You got your XLMR3 laser rifle, custom painted. You got your 45-ish type pistol, custom painted. And you got a combat knife, a very small combat knife. And the gang molding is, these are the weapons that come with Grunt. Exactly the weapons that come with Grunt. So it's not the normal pistol that you're accustomed to Snake Eyes coming with, or the normal knife. This knife is much smaller than the normal knife. But we are going to gear him up and see how they look holstered, particularly the knife. I'm pretty sure the pistol will be fine. The knife, not sure about. Doesn't have a silencer this time, so there's nothing to put in that front portion of the holster. But that's what we've got going there. Moving on over to the polar bear. He is pretty awesome and large and long. Legs are in the package, so you have to put those on. But he's massive. That's definitely, the bulk of the plastic in this thing. He does come with an alternate ferocious head and that's really cool. The details really nice, kind of scarred up, perhaps from timber or some other bear maybe. And you've got your bear trap. So of course we have the catalytic element chamber with the red element. This is the same container that Dr. Mindbender came with, the convention exclusive Dr. Mindbender. And then we have the canister that Snake Eyes used to collect up the crystals when he was irradiated in the tunnel, in the cave. And of course, it's got some energy pink there going with it. And of course, it's cool. It doesn't really do anything. I don't think it opens or anything. But that's that. So we're gonna get Snake Eyes geared up. Maybe change out the configuration of the polar bear and do some comparisons. Okay, so we got Snake Eyes sort of at odds with the polar bear. And as you can see, standing, the polar bear is quite large. Someone in another video I watched said that the polar bear is actually too small, but I don't know. Looks about right to me. I mean, for it to be any bigger for a toy, I just don't know how you would really pull that off. I think it's close enough for government work, as they say. And the polar bear is pretty excellent. I do want to show, pretty much everything with the polar bear. So you do get the extra head, and you get the arrows. It's like a panel. Got the arrows there. You can remove it completely. And you get kind of a bloody area. But the polar bear, once again, keeps the standard of the animals that they've been giving us with various G.I. Joe classified series figures. And he's just as awesome as the rest of them. So I'm pretty good with the polar bear. So now we'll do some comparisons with Snake Eyes with some of his G.I. Joe counterparts. All right, for comparisons, first up, we're going to do the most obvious comparison you can do. We'll bring in Retro Card Snake Eyes, one of my favorite figures in the line. Got him for my birthday a couple of years ago. I'm glad I did because I had to import him from overseas. I paid about $40 for him, and I don't know if you've seen the secondary market prices on this guy, but they're like ridiculous. So I guess I only bring that up to say that somebody in my Snake Eyes retro card video actually had the gall to say that I was helping scalpers and I paid too much. But yeah, that guy was wrong. But anyway, Snake Eyes and Snake Eyes, same figure, different paint job, different paint applications, different plastic color can make all the difference. You know, both of them look great, but for completely different reasons. Next up, we've got Retro Card Duke. And I brought him in because, Snake Eyes and Duke in G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, they shared quite a bit of screen time. So I figured I'd bring him in. And I don't want to, I don't want to leave out the Timbers here. Of course, Timber is here, and I'm using the Alpha Commandos version of Timber. That's my preferred version. I do have the white Timber, but that's not really accurate to anything. Yeah, Timber, but that's really Timber to me right there. And of course, that's Duke. Last, but certainly not least, we've got Retro Card Scarlet. Obviously, I'm not going to do a video with Snake Eyes and not have the Scarlet in there. I'm not, nah, probably not ever going to do a Snake Eyes video without Scarlet. So, there you go. Retro Card Scarlet. Snake Eyes. I was going to have Stalker, but his berets fell off again, so can't really do it. But, I think you get a good gist feel for how he looks on the shelf with other guys. And I think we can move on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on G.I. Joe Classified Series number 161, Snake Eyes and Polar Bear. I think this is a great set. I mean, Snake Eyes is always I'm gonna buy Snake Eyes. They do a Snake Eyes, I'm gonna buy it. I make no apologies for it. Snake Eyes is and has always been my favorite character. The mystery man concept, the badass commando, you know, the ninja, all of it. You know, it's all it all creates a character that's indelible part of the franchise. And I don't have Snake Eyes fatigue at all. In fact, I think he's only gotten 9 versions in 180 figures. One of them is from that horrible movie. Yeah, you know, complaining about Snake Eyes is whatever. Just don't get them, I guess. But we don't even have all of the regular Real American Hero versions of Snake Eyes, and so I think at least those have to be made. We did get the version 4 Snake Eyes, and he'll be showing up here on the channel very soon. But for this set, I think it's cool. The polar bear, you like getting animals and things like that to build out the world of your classified series stuff. Then yeah, great. It's polar bear. Everybody who got a snow cat, which I'm not one of those people, but if you got a snow cat, you want to have a cold weather adventure. Now you got a polar bear to go along with it. So I think it's great. As far as this set, I'm going to say where I got a figure rank of 10. Yes, the Snake Eyes is completely reused, but the polar bear is pretty freaking awesome. And it's a version of Snake Eyes, from a particular form of media that we wouldn't really otherwise get. Yes, Super 7 did do the cartoon Snake Eyes themselves, but, that's a whole other collection. This is G.I. Joe Classified Series, and that's what I collect. So, yeah, there you go. Well, I got a figure rank 10. Very happy to get this set. And I hope everybody who got one is happy with it too. So that's going to do it for this one. G.I. Joe Classified Series is back in a big way. I have no less than 7 G.I. Joe Classified Series reviews to get through, not counting this one. I have 7 remaining. This is just the first. So please be on the lookout. These guys will be coming up pretty sporadically this week. We'll probably get another one. And then, because I'm going to try and do an entire week of reviews, even though my space on my phone is very limited. I got to work out that too, but I am going to work it out. So there'll be a video tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I'll go back to a regular schedule. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for clicking on this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. We got a lot more G.I. Joe Classified series coming, as I just mentioned. So please do check it out. I'm going to wrap it here. Till next time, everybody stay safe. Happy collecting. See you on the next video. Peace.
The way I got it figured.